Hey everyone, I'm here today with my 2021 Aprilia Tuono Factory V4 and I'm installing the TREX Racing engine case covers. Really excited to put them on. I'll show you step by step and let's jump right to it. So the TREX engine covers, right? It's having both sides of the engine. It's having the relevant hardware, the spacers, and it's also coming with its own instructions. Fairly straightforward, right? And we're going to go start with the left side first and then the right side next. So we'll go right and first take the protective covers out of the engine, right? Because these are already having something there. And then we'll put the engine protection that will actually save this and protect it in the case of a slide. All right, so first and foremost, you're going to need a 10 millimeter, right? And with instructions, it's going to show you where the bolts will go in. But again, this is not showing actually the engine, right? So you have to first take the engine covers out, right? So you'll see the bolt here, you'll see a bolt here, you see another bolt here, right? So I don't think you have to take the fairing out, the bottom belly pan. So I'm just going to start it. You can see when you take this one out, you're actually having a spacer, right? So just be careful with the hardware. Definitely don't lose anything. I think the spacer is still in there. And the third one down below. All right. So there's a little bit of a suction, and I'm assuming that's from like the foam, and it comes right out. So you're just moving the belly pan, right, and then take it out, and you can see the factory cover, right? It's made from like a hard plastic. It's definitely not like, there's some give to it. I really doubt this is really protecting the engine during a crash. This is definitely more for, I would say, sound insulation, right? So you're having this insulation here, so potentially having some benefits from a sound standpoint. Okay, so now that exposes what you can see here, right? You have this one has like an offset, and the spacer, you can see the bolts here, and this one as well, right? So from the instructions, the ones that I need to take out are this one, this one, this one, and the one that's behind the fairing right here, right? There's another one there. And I'm going to go through this now. Alright, so I'm going to start with a 10 millimeters here. And I can see there's definitely some either Loctite material or sealant, and then make sure not to miss the washer. So these are the first two. Now there's going to be this one, which is effectively a 6 millimeter, right? So So that one looks like it has some blue Loctite on it. And then I try to sneak this one through so you can see the final 10 millimeter. So you can see just moving the fairing behind, and then you can see here this bolt, which is the final 10 millimeter, right? It's right above this line. You can see this 10 millimeter. That's the one I'm going to go after now. Take that one out. And you know, if you want to take the fairing out, you don't need to, but you can just kind of finagle it out. That one also has a washer. Alright, so we're having next is the case cover, right? So the protective. Just make sure you follow the instructions. Again, they're very clear. And they recommend some medium grade Loctite, right? So I'm going to just put some on the bolts quickly. But just follow the directions, right? So you're having 6 millimeter spacers both at the ends, and then you're having a 20 millimeter spacer right here, right? And it comes pretty much pre-assembled, especially for the both ends, and just follow it through. It's going to be like M6 by 60s, like all through around, right? And you just need to make sure you're getting like the 20 millimeter spacer, and then that you're getting the 6 millimeter spacers assembled, right? So don't forget that as you put it in. So this is a 4 millimeter, so the one, let's say, most forward facing, and I did have to also loosen up the bottom of the belly pan over here, right? That's all this one at the end. That's also 4 millimeter, just to give a little bit more space for the ratchet, right? So I just wanted to make sure I didn't cross thread it, that's why. And then now, of course, I'm going in very smoothly. Fairing bolt back in, which allowed me to get to that one bolt. Alright, that's done. Nice and tight. Nothing loose. You can see it shaking the whole bike. And I'm going to switch over to the next side. Alright, now we're in the right side. It's the same thing. 10 millimeter. Just to take out this one, I'm assuming this one, and another one here. Just slowly out. This is the same type of cover. I think it does probably more towards acoustics than actual protection. This one is very easy. Definitely don't need to take the lower fairing down as well. This one. So similar to the other side, but much bigger, right? So you can see as the foam again, backing, and that's what kind of suctioned it together. And then the big, much bigger than the other side. Alright, so just a quick update. So just like the instructions are saying, there's gonna, the bottom three of it will actually be M6 by 45, right? So the shorter ones, 1, 2, 3. And then the top one, the top left, will be the M6 by 60. So this is the longer one, M6 by 60 on the top left. Of course, don't forget the 15 millimeters spacers. And then as you kind of place it up on here, you'll see exactly which bolts needed. So it's actually this one, then you'll skip this one. You need to take this one out, and then this one out. Right? So these two, this one out, skip this one, and then do this one. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those bolts and then start fitting it on. That one, it's 8 millimeter for these ones. And then for the socket, it is M6 as well, right? So that'll be an M6. Just like the other side. As you can see, longer on the top left, right? And then shorter on the bottom ones. M6. Alright, this is the M6 one. Alright, so that one also has a spacer. That was the 6. So that one was the 6 millimeter. Has to come out, right? So that's right underneath the dipstick hole. That should be 8 millimeter. Yep. So that one has to come out. The same thing, just finger tighten it first before using the tool, right? Just making sure you have a clear path in. Alright, so everything's now tight. I was tightening it. I just wanted to make sure, one, that was kind of progressively doing this one, right? So just going back and forth. And two, that the spacer is actually not loose right behind it. I think that's also a good kind of indication to make sure this is completely in there. But you can see, again, like very nice finish, and I'll take some finish angles for the end of the video, but you know, it's definitely in there, and from a piece it's definitely much more beefy than the factory cover that looks more like it was acoustic. like anything, right? So this is definitely sticking out a little bit more. So especially for those track days, just progressively, find a limit as far as lean angle is concerned. But again, it looks like a great part, actually, looks good. And, the components and hardware um, look also very good. And from a difficulty standpoint, you can see I did have one of the other kind of just tweak that I had to do, but overall, not too difficult to install. All right, guys, so I was able to actually, after the installation of the engine case protector, I was actually able to see these like bolts with a bracket. I was actually able to put those on too, right? So that one is one, this is another one on the right side. Then you have this one and this one on the right side. Right, so effectively anything that's having this kind of spacer, I was able to put back those factory bolts, right? So 10 millimeter. So also on the left side, you can see those spacer bolts. I have those 10 millimeters in there. I think it just cleans it up, right? So it's just like you have it mounted there, and it just matches, right? So it doesn't look like you're missing a bolt, right? So definitely not in the instructions, but looks much better with them on. So that's also highly recommended. And this is now the left side. You can see the left side profile looks very nice as well, and tucks right underneath the fairing, right? So it's not sticking out. Good profile. And then from a left side profile, you can see everything's tucked in nice, right? So I would say where the fairing goes, there's nothing sticking out. It's not like a Boxer, BMW Boxer engine, right? It's not sticking out any much where the fairing would go, right? So that's the kind of front to two-thirds profile on the left. And on the right side, you can see, right? So this one, from a profile standpoint, right? Very tucked in nicely. It's a little bit set further back, right? On the right side, you can see, still very neat. Doesn't, I would say, extend past the foot pegs, right? So not further than the foot pegs. It's tucked in there nicely as well. And definitely much less than the RNG frame protector there. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the install, and thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, ride safe and take it easy.